170 soldiers have been killed in recent clashes between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Two neighbors fighting for the control of Nagorno-Karabakh. Now, Armenia is looking for weapons and systems, and India, for the first time, is selling the Pinaka multi-launch rocket systems. India has in the past sold the Swati weapon locating radars to Armenia. India is seen as the largest arms importer in the world and has been seen as one for quite some time. But India now is taking a giant leap in arms exports. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get you much more on this big story. But as always, let's get started with the headlines on India first. Ashok Gehlot opts out of Congress party's presidential race. Sachin Pilot meets Sonia Gandhi. Digvijay Singh tells India Today, without the Gandhis, Congress is a zero, says decision to contest was his own. In election-bound Gujarat, Prime Minister Narendra Modi lays the foundation for big-ticket projects worth 3,400 crore rupees. In Surat, hails the double-engine government in the state. Big step for women's rights in India. Supreme Court legalizes abortion regardless of marital status. Big India Today impact. Nitish Kumar promises action against Bihar IAS officer who shamed a young girl for seeking access to sanitary pads. '36th National Games begin in Ahmedabad. Thousands gather to witness the grand opening ceremony. Amidst growing tensions with Azerbaijan, which is considered very close to Turkey and Pakistan, Armenia has signed a $260 million contract with India for the procurement of indigenously manufactured Pinaka multi-barrel rocket launchers. This is the first time that India is exporting the Pinaka missile system to another country. That's the missile system that you see on your television screen. It's the rocket system. This is indigenously developed. Pinaka system, with its enhanced range, is able to fire multiple rockets in quick succession up to 70 kilometers away. India Today's Shivarur gets us more.
This is the Pinaka, a fully Indian multi-rocket launcher system. A fearsome weapon that's deployed in large numbers with the Indian Army and with several more regiments on order. But 2 decades after this incredible made-in-India weapon entered service with the Indian Army, a massive milestone has just been achieved. Armenia, a country at war with its neighbour Azerbaijan, has just signed up to become the first international customer of this fully Indian weapon. The sale is part of a $260 million package deal for the country that's been embroiled in conflict since last year. The Indian Pinaka system, capable of firing furious barrages of 120mm rockets out to distances of up to 75 kilometers with devastating accuracy, will become part of Armenia's strike forces against a more capable and well-armed adversary. Each Pinaka regiment consists of 3 batteries of 6 Pinaka launchers, each which is capable of launching 12 rockets within a range of at least 40 kilometers in a space of 44 seconds. By signing up for the tried and battle-proven Pinaka, Armenia signals faith in an Indian weapon and represents a huge morale boost to Indian weapons industry. Armenia will also be eligible for the many improvements and upgrades being done on the system to make the Pinaka hit further, harder and with smarter accuracy. The Pinaka takes its name from the celestial bow wielded by Lord Shiva to destroy 3 cities of the Asuras. Armenia will be hoping the system adds some much-needed firepower to its destructive conflict with neighbour Azerbaijan. For India, however, the export sale is a massive milestone, a show of trust and faith, and a much-needed psychological boost to Atmanirbhar Bharat that's finally on the world stage. Bureau Report, India Today.
And India Today's Shiv Arur now joins me for more on this major development. Shiv, India has been seen as the world's largest arms importer for years. But we're seeing a major change here. The Pinaka system. Pinak, in Hindu scriptures, the bow of Lord Shiv, the destroyer, being sold to Armenia. It's a major message being sent globally, Shiv.
You know, Gaurav, for a country like ours, which has always had the notorious reputation of being one of the largest importers of military hardware and weapons, for that country to now be exporting not a small number, but a high-value deal, about $250 million worth, may not be large compared to many other big-ticket deals, but $250 million is a big deal as far as India's exports is concerned, and that too to a country that's currently embroiled, in an active border conflict with one of its neighbors, is a very big deal. We can't downplay this because this is some may call it a baby step, but it is extremely substantial. It's also a show of faith. Remember, the Pinaka weapon system that, the Armenians have ordered is a weapon system that's been, in service since the Kargil war, which you covered. It performed very well there. It's a great example of a fully 100% made in India system that has proven itself, been improved, progressively over 2 decades. And, the Indian Army has shown a great amount of faith in it. Multiple regiments already in service. Many more incoming, with improved versions of the Pinaka. And now you have a first foreign customer that's actually, who has options in the arms bazaar, as we well know, but choosing to buy an Indian weapon against an enemy country of theirs, that is very well armed, it's bigger, has much more advanced weaponry, as we've seen with drones. So therefore, it's very important to see the importance of this export. It is also going to be a huge psychological boost to the Indian defense industry, which will look at exports as possible, as viable, and not some faraway dream.
You're absolutely right. And Shiv, they've already seen the Swati weapon locating radar. 2020 is where Armenia bought those weapon locating radars that incidentally India desperately required during the Kargil war. We didn't have the ANTPQ-37s that we acquired from the Americans subsequently, Grad 21s in Kargil, and the Pinaka system that came subsequently. Shiv, many thanks for joining me, but stay on with me for another big story that's coming up. As of now, let's talk about what's happening between Armenia and Azerbaijan. More than 170 soldiers have been killed in recent clashes between Armenia and Azerbaijan, two former Soviet bloc countries fighting for the control of the disputed territory of Nagorno-Karabakh. You can see that on that map on your television screen. Now, Turkey sided with Azerbaijan, selling them the Bayraktar drones, which destroyed Armenia's tank regiments, and that happened way back in 2020. Post that, Armenia is now looking to, in a way, build up in a very big way. It's talking to Russia, it's talking to the United States, it's talking to India to help strengthen its defenses, not just with the supply of military hardware. Drone videos like this one showing an Azerbaijan unmanned combat aerial vehicle destroying an Armenian tank went viral world over in 2020. Using the Turkish Bayraktar drones, Azerbaijan successfully decimated the Armenian armored columns and made significant gains in Nagorno-Karabakh. The Russian-brokered truce was virtually blown to bits in the second week of September when artillery guns from Azerbaijan and Armenia opened up once again on September 13, resulting in over 170 fatalities and a fresh spike in tensions. Both Azerbaijan and Armenia have accused each other of violating the ceasefire.
2 days ago, we listened to the statement delivered here by the Prime Minister of Armenia. Regretfully, this was yet another evidence demonstrating that the Armenian side seems focused on continuing the confrontation instead of normalization. In Azerbaijan, we believe that our region has seen enough confrontation, destruction and suffering. It is high time for both our nations to engage fully and wholeheartedly in the post-conflict normalization so we can finally turn over the tragic page of our history and start building a better future for our children.
Azerbaijan initiated a major military offensive targeting the eastern and southeastern regions of Armenia with the use of a wide range of weaponry, including artillery and combat UAVs. The offensive took lives of 105 people, left dozens wounded, dozens missing, and inflicting various forms of material damage, including upon the civilian settlements and infrastructure. The scale of destruction and the intensity of shelling is so high that at the moment we have only the initial figures.
Azerbaijan and Armenia, both former Soviet bloc countries, are neighbors and have been at war for the control of the disputed territory of Nagorno and Karabakh. In 2020 conflict, Azerbaijan, backed by Turkey, was able to make major territorial gains in the disputed territory. Russia backed Armenia but remains engaged in Ukraine conflict, enabling Azerbaijan to test the limits of the truce. On Sunday, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken hosted the foreign ministers of Armenia and Azerbaijan after the truce on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. This was the first meeting after the killings of over 170 soldiers. The two sides have agreed to maintain peace. Last week, US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi also visited Armenia and called the attacks by Azerbaijan deadly and illegal.
Our meeting again had a particular importance to us because of the focus on security following the illegal and deadly attacks on us by the Azerbaijan on the Armenian territory. We strongly condemn those attacks, we in our delegation and on behalf of Congress, which threatens prospects for much-needed peace agreement.
Armenia is hunting both for disruptive technology, including unmanned combat aerial vehicles, and also for heavy artillery and longer-range weapon systems to be able to deter Azerbaijan amidst apprehensions that the border skirmishes could take a turn for the worse. Bureau Report, India Today. But staying with the story of Indian arms bazaar and Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense manufacturing, the Indian Army has significantly bolstered its firepower along the line of actual control with China by deploying a range of rockets and artillery weapons, and plans to procure an array of additional weapons and systems, including the Vajra howitzers and unmanned aerial vehicles, to augment our combat power right at the line of actual control.
One of India's newest big guns seen here in the tense eastern Ladakh standoff zone. For over a year or so, these tracked 155mm artillery guns have proven their mettle. This is the K9 Vajra T, built by Indian private sector giant Larsen & Toubro, far away in Hazira, Gujarat. But so impressed is the Indian Army with these guns and their ability to adapt from hot desert conditions to the icy altitudes of Ladakh, that the Indian Army is all set to repeat its order for 100 more of these. The Larsen & Toubro factory that builds these monster weapons does so under license from a Korean company. But the K9 Vajra is now increasingly indigenous with very little outside help. Prime Minister Modi, who hails from Gujarat, put a personal stamp on the K9 when he rode in one during a ceremony. The factory has delivered the first order of 100 guns to the Indian Army, and the production line is still warm and buzzing. Therefore, the second order for 100 more guns will be delivered at a much faster rate. The Army's experience with the gun has been valuable to the makers. Deploying it beyond its intended terrain from the deserts of Rajasthan to the freezing heights of Ladakh, these lessons will go into the next batch of K9s manufactured, including additional winter-proofing and modifications to make them even more effective at high altitudes. The K9 has already proven its mettle in India's most hostile battlefield, providing highly mobile artillery support to any possible outbreak of conflict on the restive line of actual control with China. A repeat order for made-in-India equipment means industry gets to think bigger, boosts investment in indigenous weaponry, and moves the country much closer to that elusive ideal of self-reliance in defense. Bureau Report, India Today.
And Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, he visited forward areas in Arunachal Pradesh to take stock of the country's defense preparedness along the line of actual control. Rajnath Singh made an on-the-ground assessment of the country's preparedness along the LAC in Arunachal Pradesh, in the eastern sector. He took stock of all security-related aspects. Chief of the Army Staff, General Manoj Pandey, General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Eastern Command, Lieutenant General R.P. Kalita, and other senior officers of the Army were accompanying the Raksha Mantri, who interacted with troops in this area. Now, in his address to the armed forces, he spoke of their dedication and the sacrifice of the soldiers who are posted at these very inhospitable heights in protecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our country. I quickly once again want to bring in my colleague Shiv Arur for more on this, the timing of this visit. But before that, let's listen in to Defence Minister Rajnath Singh.
पहले भारत अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंचों पर कुछ बोलता था, लोग गंभीरतापूर्वक भारत की बातों को नहीं सुनते, लेकिन आज यदि भारत अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंचों पर कुछ बोलता है तो लोग कान खोलकर सुनते हैं कि भारत बोल क्या रहा है. यह भारत की हैसियत बन गई.
Shiv, the timing of the visit to the LAC or to the eastern sector extremely crucial. Let's see what's happening across the line of actual control, what's happening in China. President Xi Jinping is preparing for an unprecedented third term in 1 month's time. China, as we all know, cannot be trusted. Shiv, explain the significance. The military top brass visiting LAC in Ladakh, the defense minister here in Arunachal Pradesh, very, very strong signaling or a counter message to a belligerent and expansionist nation. And the pictures behind Rajnath Singh, Shiv, they tell a story of their own.
You know, Gaurav, peeping out, from behind the Raksha Mantri in this picture that's been put out by the MOD so tantalizingly is that, is that chart with those pictures, some of them only seen partially, of face-offs that have taken place in 2022 in the Arunachal sector. You can't make out very clearly what exactly is going on, but you can see, flag patrols and the brandishing of both Chinese as well as Indian flags in some of those face-off pictures. The significance of this, of course, is it has largely been imagined that things have been peaceful, but obviously the Indian Army continues to face encroachments by, Chinese troops in the Arunachal sector, and Indian forces are obviously, giving it right back with their own, a flashing of the Indian flag. So it's an amazing reminder that as India and China try to, normalize things in Ladakh, there is another restive frontier in Arunachal. Remember, Arunachal is called South Tibet. It's claimed as the territory of China, much to the, the disgust of, India over many, many years. But the fact is that this continues to be a live situation in Arunachal. Gone are the days when one could describe the India-China frontier as peaceful. 2020 changed that completely, but this and these pictures of those face-offs, multiple at that from Arunachal, a reminder that things are never going to be normal again, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely. And if China insists on calling Arunachal Pradesh South Tibet, perhaps we should start calling Tibet North Arunachal Pradesh and pay the dragon back in the same coin. Shiv, for joining me here, many thanks. But let me now shift focus to what's happening in Gujarat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Gujarat. He's joining these Navratri festivities. He performed an Arti in Ahmedabad, and this comes after a day full of launching several projects, inaugurating the 36th National Games at the Narendra Modi Stadium. Now, India's star javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra also lit up the city of Vadodara by attending the Garba festivities as part of Navratri celebrations on the 28th of September. Of course, these are images that you see of Prime Minister Narendra Modi performing the Arti. And this is Neeraj Chopra. The grand reception Neeraj Chopra got on the 28th of September, the excitement in the crowd palpable as he participated in the Navratri celebrations. Listen in to all that was happening. Take a look.
Thank you.